At the end of the step 3 video, I noticed this funky little space happening down here, and this graphic, this background graphic that is inside of main should be going all the way down to our footer, and for whatever reason it's not now, and that started happening after we added the graphic for, or the graphic container for our controller. So let's take a look. So we know that that image is inside of main. Okay, so let's go take a look if we can find main up here. All right, so here's main. So main is the element which is holding all of this content, our rocket, our background image, our lyrics, and the audio controller we just placed inside. So let's go to main, and I have a border, and I tend to use border quite often when I'm trying to debug something. So let's just see where in fact main is. Okay, so we'll just add a border to main, and we'll save, and let's update our page. So there's main. We can see our border going around the main element, and then we can see how everything inside relates. Now, interesting. So I added the border to main, and now our graphic, our main element, is pushing down as it should. Okay, so something's going on with this container which we added for our controller. Okay, so let's go back, and let's comment our border back in here like so. All right, and we'll go ahead and save, and we'll do a quick update, and we'll see that that issue comes back. Okay, now inside of main we have our section. So let's go take a look inside of main. We have our section right here, which is holding the lyrics. Okay, so let's go take a look at main, and we'll find our section. I happen to have a border on this one also, which was commented off. So we'll take our comment, or commented out. We'll take out that comment, and we will save. And let's update our page. And we should see a border around our section now. So we can see exactly what's inside of our section. Okay, and you'll notice this area gets fixed again. So we're starting to target in that the possible problem is something inside of this graphic container we created. So let's go back, and I'm going to comment the border back out. So again, I tend to use border on elements when things aren't lining up or when they're not positioning correctly. I use a border to go through a debugging process so I can see exactly where things are. Okay, so let's go ahead and update. Make sure we do our update here. All right, I didn't update my border, or maybe this didn't save correctly here. All right, so I did get my comment correct, so let's just force a save, and we'll update. And there, our border went away, and there's that issue again. So there must be something going on with this element because this is the last thing we added. So let's go and take a look at audio 1. Okay. Everything looks okay there. Let's keep going. All right, everything looks okay there. All right, so we have audio 1 and our image, and I'm noticing I have a float, and I am clearing, I'm setting the clear to none. So that would allow this element to be out of the flow of the document, and the clear none means that we are not clearing the element, so elements which follow don't really understand that this image is here. And I notice that I have a height of about 6.25 rem, which is pretty consistent with this space in here. Okay, so there's something wrong with there's something wrong likely due to the float, and the float is not being cleared. Therefore, the normal flow of the document is not being returned. So what we need to do is return the normal flow. So we need to clear this float element. So I'm going to create what is called a clear fix. Okay, so I'm just going to go all the way down to the bottom of my CSS, and we're going to create a class called clearfix, and we're going to attach the after pseudo to our clearfix. So the idea here is we are going to apply the properties of our clearfix after the element which has the clearfix ends. All right, so let's go ahead and complete our clearfix. So we'll add our curly braces, and let's go ahead and first, to create a clearfix, we have to have some form of content. It's just how how this is going to work. So we will add a content, and let's just add a period. I often leave it empty, but semantically you shouldn't do that, leaving the content value or property value empty. So we'll just use a period. Okay, let's go ahead and end that particular declaration. And now what we're going to do is set the height to 0. We're going to set the visibility to hidden. And then what we have to do is we have to force this element to become a block level element. So we're going to tell this element to display block, and we will use this to now add our clear, and we're going to clear both left and right potentially. So we're only using a left float, but let's just go ahead and say clear both. So this would work for left and right floats which have not been cleared. Okay, so again, we're creating a class. We're attaching the pseudo after because we want this class to apply these rules after the element we add this to ends. Okay, we have to have some content. It's just the way that it works. We're going to then set the height to 0 so it will collapse. We'll set the visibility to hidden so the dot cannot be seen. And then we're going to set the display to block because that's what we have to do to force this to be a block level element. And then we're going to use this clearfix to apply clear both. So let's go ahead and now add our clearfix to our section. Now remember that float is at the in that image down at the bottom of our section. So we want our section to behave correctly and go back to the flow of the document. So class equals, and we'll say clear fix, and we'll save. Let's update our page and see if this works for us by clearing that float. And let's go down, and there we go. Our space is gone, and our section is behaving correctly again. So this image here had a float left, and it had a clear of none on it, which means the rest of the elements were forcing or creating a situation where the following elements really didn't know that this element was here, thus coming up and closing at what it thought was a new bottom. Okay, so we added our clear fix after pseudo to our section element, which returned the normal flow of the document, which fixed this strange space.